It was a beautiful summer day when a group of friends decided to take a weekend trip to a cabin in the woods. They were looking forward to a relaxing time, fishing, hiking, and enjoying the great outdoors. But what they found at the cabin was far from the peaceful getaway they had planned. Upon arriving, they found the cabin to be run down, and the surrounding woods were thick and overgrown. But they shrugged it off and decided to make the best of it. However, strange things began to happen almost immediately. They heard strange noises in the woods at night and found that the door of the cabin locked and unlocked itself. But they decided to ignore it and move forward. The next day, they went for a hike in the woods and stumbled upon an old, abandoned graveyard. The grave markers were ancient, and the inscriptions were in a language they couldn't understand. As they were exploring, they heard whispers coming from the graves. It was as if the spirits of the dead were trying to communicate with them. They quickly left the graveyard and tried to put it out of their minds. That night, they heard more strange noises outside the cabin. They decided to investigate, and they found footprints leading into the woods, but there was no one there. They returned to the cabin, but they were unable to shake the feeling of being watched. The following day, they found a book in the cabin that explained the history of the land and the cabin. They learned that the cabin was built on sacred land that was used for dark rituals. They also discovered that the graveyard they had stumbled upon was where the sacrifices for the rituals were buried. The previous occupants who performed the rituals had disappeared, and the cabin was abandoned. The friends quickly realized that they were in grave danger. They needed to get out of the cabin as soon as possible. But when they tried to leave, they found that the roads leading out of the woods were blocked and impassable. They were trapped, and there was no escape. They spent the night barricading the cabin, but it was futile. The spirits of the sacrificed were angry, and they were determined to claim new victims. The friends were attacked one by one until only one of them was left alive. The lone survivor managed to escape the cabin and the woods, but the memory of the horrors he had witnessed stayed with him for the rest of his life. He never spoke of what had happened at the cabin, but he knew that the spirits of the sacrificed were still there, waiting for new victims to come to the cabin in the woods. This story is a reminder that we should always be aware of the places we go and the things we do, as they can have consequences. It's good to research and be informed before visiting a place, especially if the place has a dark history or reputation.